welcome to episode 14 of the Bodhi Bros, where the title of the video that we reviewed was Waking Up from the Trance of Unworthiness with Tara Brach.
Yes, Tara Brach.
I'm John with a J.
I'm Bodhi Ray.
And we are here today to break it on down.
Break it down. What we do with the Bodhi Bros, we review these videos and we tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we liked
and the beautiful. And the beautiful.
So, what do you think, John with a J?
Oh, I don't even want to talk about this video. I'm just kidding. I struggled. Maybe it was the format too.
Because it was an interview?
Yeah. Well, not because, maybe because it was an interview. But it was just, maybe it was the tone of it, maybe it was the cinematography. I don't know. It was very rockabye baby for me, man. Like, I was like, okay, come on, let's go, let's get into it. There's something here. First time I started doing, actually, it was the first video that I started doing, going into other tabs and listening to it as I did other work. And I'm like, maybe subliminally I'll be able, it'll register some things. And that was like maybe halfway through. Then the second time I really committed to watching it and listening. And that's when I took down my notes. And then one time this morning I played it again and I picked out some things here and there and I ended up with, the normal front and back, so that was surprising. The first time I watched it, I was like, well, Ray, it was a good streak. We had 13 good videos to review. You were bound to, drop the ball once, and here it is. And but alas, there's some stuff here to talk about. And
I didn't think it was that bad. I had watched a Tara Brach. Tara Brach, I think.
Is it Tara? Tara Brach?
I think it's Tara. I think she says Tara in the video. But I had watched a Tara Brach video in the past about radical acceptance, which is what she talks about a lot. And it was a really good video. This is probably at least a year or two ago, and it was really good. So she was sort of like on my list of somebody I wanted to get to. I never saw this video before. I thought this video was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it and I didn't love it. It was kind of like a ho-hum kind of video for me. I think it's a video where if you've never seen Tara Brach before and you like what she says, then you may want to go deeper into some of her teachings. It was kind of an introductory sort of video for me. The fact that it was a interview didn't bother me because I think it allowed her to go a little deeper into some of the things that were maybe she would have just glossed over if she was just doing a regular talk or a regular lecture. So that didn't really bother me at all. But I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. To me, it was sort of I don't know. It was okay, and there's definitely some stuff to get out of this, which we're gonna go over.
Yep, agreed. Her series was called, her audio series with that particular, what do you want to call it? I don't know, that platform, sounds of, what is it called?
Source, I think, or something
like that. Yeah, it'll be in the notes. But so she has the audio series that you referred to as Radical Self-Acceptance. And then she recently published a book called True Refuge, Finding Peace and Freedom in Your Own Awakened Mind. So you can look that up if you're interested in Tara Brach. If this video tickled you or the information we're about to share has you intrigued to a certain degree, seek her out. And we'll drop that information in the notes as well. I guess in a nutshell, her whole message was mindful awareness with kindness. That's, if you want to wrap up the whole thing. And we can break it down specific, the parts that she takes us to.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of it was being aware, being mindful of when you're in a state of unworthiness. And for me, that comes from doing meditation practices, because sometimes we do get caught up in that trance of our stuff, our unworthiness, our negativity, our fears, our sadness. And if we're not mindful, that stuff takes us over. We start acting out of that pain, out of that trauma, instead of acting out of the deeper sense of self. the heart, or what you want to call maybe the Buddha nature or the soul, or whatever name you want to give it. So a lot of that is just, like you said, being mindful of it and noticing when you are falling into that trance. And kind of what she talks a lot about is the pausing and catching yourself when you're in that state, and just treating yourself with loving kindness, meeting it with loving kindness. In a way, it's kind of coming back into that deeper state of being, saying that, not breaking away that identification with the unworthiness, and identifying, shifting that awareness into love or kindness, or whatever you want to call it.
So the pause is one of the most important parts, then, is what I'm hearing. And the challenge, no, I didn't freeze, I paused again, is the fact that, at least in the West, we are a very fear-based, over-consuming culture. So that paradigm really plays into that zombie, just unworthiness trance-like state. I mean, the two of those go together.
Oh yeah,
like peas and carrots.
We're always kind of told that we're not enough, that we need something else, and we're kind of programmed that with TV, with consumerism. We need to have the best clothes, or the better car, or the nicer house. So we're always kind of being kind of led that way, into thinking that we need to be, that we're incomplete, and we need something to fulfill that need, that void, which we really don't.
So to help us slip,
it is part of the culture, for sure.
right, and that's, I mean, that's virtually inescapable, unless we commit to unlearning our previous programs of the past and unplugging from them and creating anew, and not allowing, not in a bulldozing type way, but being more aware when we begin to come from a place of lack, and understand that we are perpetually surrounded on a planet and in an experience of abundance, should we be open to receive that, and feel worthy of that, and take that moment to pause and rewrite that script. Because if it, what did she call it? Tending and befriending? Was that the phrase that she used?
Yeah, yeah.
So tend to those feelings that come up of lack and unworthiness, with loving kindness and presence. And she talks about, and this is one of the parts that I liked, and like I said, your streak is still alive, Ray. It's safe. And I gave you a little grief before the video. We didn't talk very specifically about it. I said, I'll save my opinions for the recording. But no, there is definitely value here. There always is. There's always at least one thing. There's always, even if you have to listen to 30 minutes of something that was kind of boring or whatever it was for you, it wasn't grab you in that magnetic way. If you're paying attention, it's like a deck of cards, man. You pull a card and you're like, I don't know if this card really resonates with me. I just pause, right? Let it marinate, and that card's your card for a reason. And so this video is our video for a few reasons, I think. And one of them was a gentle reminder for me that there is a power in our healing hands. You know, you and I talk about Reiki from time to time, this and that. And let us not forget about the power of, our healing hands. And she talks about, and even the interviewer talked about, putting her hand on her heart a few times when she was touched in a few ways during the comments that Tara shared during the video. But Tara specifically talks about when she has something come up like that, to connect here and to just bring that, what does she call? Oh, investigate with an intimate intention.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should go down what that whole acronym of RAIN is.
Oh yeah. Get
probably do that then, instead of just jumping into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Her practice was called RAIN, and it's a way to detangle the trance of unworthiness. So the first part is, the R stands for recognition, what's going on. So that's kind of what we said before, is you recognize that you're caught in that state of unworthiness, and realizing like, hey, this isn't right. Something's off. So maybe you feel heavier, or you feel that sense of fear or nervousness or anxiety, something in the body, you notice your thoughts.
So instead of letting it snowball down the path that it normally does, because that's what you're used to experiencing, you pause and recognize. What's next?
Right. The A is to allow. So deepen the pause. So you're really just allowing that feeling to be there. You're recognizing it, and you're kind of like, okay, you're sitting with it. Kind of like we talk about with the completion process, that part with you kind of go into that feeling. You don't push it away. You allow it. You accept that it's there. And you kind of maybe breathe into it, allow it to maybe give it form. That's kind of some of the stuff I do. I don't know about you. And then the I is to investigate with kindness. And there we kind of go underneath the storyline. We see that what we're really caught in unworthiness is that we're really just caught in a story that we believe about ourselves. And usually that story started when we were very, very young, because we didn't, we start out as this blank slate of who am I coming into this world. And we look to others to define ourselves in that state. And if somebody gave us an incident of unworthiness, we kind of we take from that experience, so we form identification, and we say, oh, I must not be worthy of getting that Snickers bar from the grocery store. I must be a piece of crap because I'm whatever.
Yeah.
So that kind of sticks with us. And so you kind of see that it's a story, and you try to get underneath the story, and that's part of the investigation. But what she said too is important to do it with kindness. And that's kind of when she says, put your hand on your heart.
Right. And that was me getting ahead of myself earlier, I guess, because you're like, whoa, 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 let's talk about the rain before you bring the hurricane, John. Like, pump the brakes. So I kind of, that acronym part was every time I watched it, I think that's when I started dissociating or whatever, which is funny, but that's what it was. So thank you for reeling me in. I know we have to get to the end, but let me comment on the healing hands thing again. So when I used to get frustrated years ago, like where I'm in public or something, someone cuts us off, or I watch someone do something really mean at a grocery store or something that just triggered me. My partner used to just scratch my heart. She would notice that I'm stressing or just, whatever. And it was so soothing. It was instantly, I'm like, okay. But no one in my life had ever really done that for me or gave me that presence and that like, hey, it's, what are you feeling? And, what's going on right here? Let she give it loving attention and kindness, whatever was coming up in me. Right. And so that was really nice. So I started, when she wasn't around, I started doing that for myself, and that was very transformative. But I do want to remind the audience that there is so much power here in these mitts, man. And a lot of times we're not aware of it. We don't recognize it, but I'll give a quick story. We're all hanging out playing ping pong one night years ago. And a friend of ours had just gotten a tattoo on his shoulder, big thing over here on his shoulder, right? Tricep area. And he has the clear bandage on it and everything. And everyone's like, whoa, that's cool, that's cool. I'm not the touchy-feely guy, especially with other guys. Like, I'm a hugger. I don't mind hugging. But all night long, Ray, all night, I'd be like, hey, man, good job. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And that was back when I drank a little too, so my inhibitions are gone. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, he's like, bro. He's like, please.
You know what? I got a tattoo before my first tattoo. I have the I don't know what you call that.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Reiki, and I got it done. And I remember it was the same thing. It was sensitive. Wouldn't you know? At work, everybody kept coming up to me, patting me on the shoulder. Like it was like a magnet. Like,
right.
What are you doing? Nobody ever does that.
And that's my point. Like there was something innately in me that my hands wanted to go help him heal. There's a wound there. There's a wound there. It wasn't the other shoulder. In fact, there were times it was almost like awkward. I'm like, hey, let me get over there and tap him. He's like, bro, he would stop me. He's like, you're doing it again. I'm like, it's a madness. No, it's built in us to go. And think about it. When a little kid falls, you know, the parent will rush and put their hands, you know, on their shoulders. Or when someone's crying, you know, the shoulder is a place. I think it sounds like it's a very common
Reiki.
place.
What you're describing is Reiki, and that's what we
Right?
learned about when you take Reiki 1. They talk about that how Reiki is natural. Reiki just means universal life energy, and you know it's the truth. When we hurt our knee, we touch it, or somebody else, like you said, somebody else gets hurt, and you kiss the boo boo, or you make that person feel better. You're treating that wound with loving kindness, and that's really just what it is.
Yeah.
Of doing that. And so it's sort of it's kind of like bringing a balance. You know, you're sort of out of balance when you're caught in that trance of unworthiness. You're identifying with that state of negativity, fear, and you're kind of just bringing that balance. You're meeting it with an equal amount or greater amount of love. You know, the way I see it's kind of like a yin yang. You know, it's all black, and you're bringing in the other half of it.
Black, white shirt. We're representing today. We knew it was gonna come down to this.
Little collie.
Whoa. Slow down. Slow down. Ray's got a few new bells and whistles, but we'll talk about that later. We definitely need to celebrate. We definitely need to celebrate that. Yes, and
a non-identification, which is liberation, and that's kind of goes back into the story part. Is recognizing who you really are at the deepest level, which is loving awareness, and seeing how you're just kind of caught up in a concept into a storyline. And that's the shift in identity. Now, some people may say, well, you're not bypassing anything. You're recognizing, okay, there's a story. I believe that I was unworthy, but I also recognize at the deepest level that I am love. I am awareness. What's true? The story isn't really true. The story is only true because you're believing it and you're creating identity out of it. So it's seeing through the illusion. It's seeing through that dreamlike state that we're caught in, and recognizing that it's not really you. There's really not a self there. There's not a self that's unworthy. It's just unworthiness. It's part of the ego. Is a part of a It's a process that keeps us in a survival. Keeps us safe, and directs us towards what it believes is happiness. So in part of trying to keep us safe, it says, okay, I'm unworthy of this. If it kind of takes away the courage. If I identify with myself as being unworthy, it's trying to keep me in a comfort zone. It's trying to keep me small so I don't get hurt in life. And that's really the aim of it. It means well. It's just that it says that the ego is just very naive and very ignorant. And it's just seeing through that, saying, okay, I'm not worthy. I don't need to be small. I can go for what I want. I am worthy of my desires, my happiness, of that job or money or relationship. I'm not going to let that story that I believe in stop me from being who I really am, from being my authentic self or expressing my authenticity.
It's a good summation, man. You some might say you just let it rain. Some probably wouldn't.
One other thing too, I thought that was good in this video is she said the number one deep regret of the dying is that they didn't live true to themselves.
You just knocked off the last thing on my list. Let's talk about that.
Okay, well, I'll talk about it.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'll start.
Well, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the JP Sears video is of embracing your weirdness. How we're afraid to be authentic because we're afraid of the judgment of other people. And because we look so outwardly for acceptance and approval that we bury those things or repress those things that make us unique. And then I think what happens is we're on our deathbed or we're ill. It sort of becomes maybe too late for us. But we think maybe it's too late, I don't know, to really express those things of who we truly are because we lived in fear that all that time. You know, maybe we were afraid of our family members or our friends judging us and whatever. So we held back on our dreams. We held back on pursuing those things that would, you know, that would really make us happy, make us, you know, express that uniqueness.
Yeah. That was in the very beginning of the video.
Yeah.
She talked about that. That the number one regret was people not being true to themselves or their own being, that they had no trust to live aligned with heart and spirit. Those were roughly her words. And yeah, man, it's not a fun life. It's a detached life. It's a, oh man, it's the life of many and most, though, you know, especially if we revert back to the culture of the West. It's hard to break that program. It's hard to go against the grain and swim upstream and all that stuff. A lot of times you find yourself abandoned by others that think that what you're doing is crazy because it's too much of a risk, or, you know, the odds are against you and this, that, and the other thing. So it's truly a courageous way to live, for sure. And many of us get there, not by way of prophetic or profound design, but by getting smashed into the bloody rocks of what are commonly known as the bottom, or the the jagged.
And like what she says is what really wakes
Yes.
us up out of that trance is most of the time is suffering.
Yeah. And some of us that have not just knocked on death's door, but maybe have pounded profusely upon death's door, and then made the decision, or were shaken into the awareness and understanding that this could be the end or a new beginning, decided in that moment to abandon all of those ways that were no longer serving themselves or ourselves, and saying, fuck it, man, like, that has not worked. That has led me to the bottom again, or for this first terrifying time, whatever it may be in your particular case. And then you say, what do I have to lose? You know, like, if I keep doing the same thing, I'm going to end up delivered back to the shores of this suffering again. Maybe I could try something different. And, you know, the very, 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 very long story short is that it happened to me in the most painful of ways. And it just couldn't stop hearing those wise words being whispered on the winds for most of my life any longer. So, you know, just yielding to the stubbornness aspect within me, and maybe embracing some of the other aspects that I had, you know, suppressed, and allowing this new potential of life has made all the difference. And I could, you know, I'll say, and I'll drop this video below. Tenacious D, for those of you not aware, is Jackblack and his partner Rage Cage, as he's lovingly known, Kyle Glass. They did a video called or a song / video called Cosmic Shame. And in that, Jack says, quit your day job, you know? And he's like, just this one time, stop doing everything you're doing and set the artist free. And he's joking, but he's serious.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that video's always stuck with me because I love them and it rocks hard. And
You sure it wasn't Matt Kahn?
Matt took it from Jack. I mean, let's be clear. But we are going to get those Matt Kahn t-shirts made, by the way, of him eating an ice cream cone. For those of you that don't know, you'll know eventually, but it's going to be a magical t-shirt in our Bodhi Bros merchandise shop one day. It'll just be one of those things we're identified with. That and a rhino shirt of some kind. See Ray's rhino behind him. Whole nother story there. We'll have merch. Guru University with the YOU. I mean, we've got a collection of merchandise that's building up here.
A bunch of ideas, man.
We just need to execute, do a Redbubble thing, or I don't know how it's going to work, man, but we'll make it work. But yeah, quit your day job, set the artist free. Here's my soapbox portion of the podcast here, where I'm going to try to stretch the time of this video I didn't, you know, write too much down on, but enough to say, just give it a good shot, man. I'm not saying abandon your family, your friends, and taking care of your responsibilities, but find a way. Look, I did exactly what he said. I quit my jobs without a plan. And I'm not recommending that for anyone unless you're ready for that level of life shaking roller coaster. Holy shit show. Like it's fun, but it also destroys things and relationships and stuff like that. And it's not easy. But can you do it? Come on. I have graced the edges of homelessness, and others have been homeless, and I never had to be entirely homeless, but I was to a certain degree, and that was scary. But always just forging forward and knowing that that life that I was leaving behind and those homes and those responsibilities and things like that, I couldn't do it anymore. It was killing me. So even though this path was fucking horrifying in so many moments, and like, what am I doing? And everyone around you going, what are you doing? Like, just let me go. I'm going to figure it out. And I'm still here. I'm in a house right now doing a podcast, so things aren't too bad. And
now you're Bodhi John with the J.
Right? I mean, it's not that bad. Was it bad for a while? It was tough, but there was always support there. And that's kind of the beauty of our journeys too, is we will find, if we're open to it, we'll find that support and that loving embrace. In so many wonderful
the universe
ways.
will provide. If you're taking that right path and you're truly listening to your heart, you will get that support.
You know, I think if I knew then, when I pushed myself over the edge and said, just go for it, if I knew how to love myself then the way I understand how to do it now, it would have been a whole lot easier. I think, for sure, because as I jumped off the cliff, I think I was really counting on other people to catch me or help support me, and they did, and that was my manifestation. I guess that's what I needed. But in retrospect, as I sit here today, maybe 5 years later, and understand, man, it didn't have to be that difficult. So my encouragement for folks thinking of flirting with leaving an old life and jumping like a cannonball into a sea of uncertainty is make sure you have a really good hold on what that means to love yourself, and at least starting the wheels of that before you take that leap.
Yeah, and I think it's really comes down to is why you're doing what you're doing. Are you doing it out of love, taking those risks? Or are you taking it out of fear, or to try to prove something to somebody else? You know, what's the intent? What's the bottom line intent? If that bottom line intent is really an expression of self-love, an expression of authenticity, there's no way you're going to fail. Maybe you don't get exactly what you wanted, but you will succeed at least on some level.
Yeah, that's well said, because that's what it was for me. I didn't have it clearly defined, and you don't have to have it clearly defined, but with what you just said, that thing over there that you just shared, that's exactly where I was at. And it was a combination of those things. It was like, it was fear, but it was like, I have to jump because I love I'm trying to love myself. I'm wanting to, and like, and as I did it, I was cradled every surprising step of the way. It was like I jumped from the top of this big, beautiful tree, and a few limbs down, someone said, hey, before you hit the ground, let's spend some time here. And I was like, okay. And then they were like, I can't hold you anymore, but don't worry, there'll be someone else to catch you. I'm like, no, this was so comfortable. Oh, wait. And then someone else caught me. And I wasn't ever looking or begging for people to catch me or provide for me. But there was that very dominant aspect of me that needed that nurturing, that cradling to really reignite that hope and humanity for me. Like, so I had lost so much and was crushed in so many ways. I was like, I need people to show me that there's still people that care. And like, I don't know what it looks like or who it's going to be, but here I go. And then they were there. And then even with my relationship, I was just like, you know what? I don't have to wait a year to get over this other relationship to be worthy of a new one. I'm not rebounding or anything like that. I want love. And then, like I shared with you before, it's very specific. Like, I want this, and that. And that would feel really good for me. And then bang, you know, slap, I'm here. How may I love you? And it was like, okay, my restored faith in humanity, restored.
Right.
And in myself, and my ability to create and provide what I need to feel loved and to get back on track.
Yeah, it's crazy how they say all suffering is grace, but we don't see it when we're actually in that suffering. You know, look at you. Look at where you're at now. If it wasn't for that suffering, you wouldn't be who you are right now. We wouldn't be on here doing this podcast.
No.
So when you look back at that stuff, and I look back at all the horror, all the that, you know, misery that I went through, I look back at it now. It's grace. It got me to where I'm at right now, which is a happy person. It got me to doing this with you and our friendship and everything. So it's grace. And that's how to look at it. But when you're in it though, you can't see it, of course.
But we can moving forward now that we understand that.
Yes,
I think now, you know, I'm meeting things with a lot less resistance. And they do say that what you resist persists. So anytime, for instance, a physical pain has come up for me in the last few years, instead of fighting it or worrying about it, I actually bring it that presence, that loving kind, and connect with it. Yeah. Say it's a shoulder, or here we go back to the shoulder. And it's like, so instead of going, oh God, this is a gout attack manifesting or whatever, and it's going to make its way into my joints, and oh my God, I just sit there and pause and talk to and say, like, what do you hear? Okay, it's the right side of my body. Is this something to do with?
Well, I want to go into the part where I think was the best part, maybe in this whole video, and it goes along with what you're saying.
Yes,
was
please.
That our freedom lies in the space between the stimulus and the response. That's where our power lies. And to me, that was the golden nugget in this whole video, I think, is where our power lies. Is, like you said, you recognize that you had that pain, and you were able to recognize it, and that's where the power is in that pause, is recognition, the awareness of it. And that's why awareness practices are so essential, you know, to build that up. Because when we meditate, we allow our thoughts and our feelings to be, and everybody gets caught up in a meditation where we get lost. We get caught up, you know, a thought of something, oh, tomorrow I have this deadline to do, and our mind drifts. And then we kind of pull ourselves back. We pull ourselves back to the present, and that builds that awareness, that builds that mindfulness. So that gives us our power. So when we do feel shame or unworthiness or that pain, like you said, that pain in your shoulder, we're able to like going back to rain, we're able to recognize it and meet it with that compassion, give it that kindness, and give it what we need. So that is where our power lies, is in that space between the stimulus and the response. Because if we don't have the awareness, that's when we become reactive instead of responsive.
Right. And then that pain persists physically, emotionally, otherwise.
Yeah.
And the physical, I think, is a really good teacher, because look, man, experiment with it, folks. Headache, shoulder ache, Achilles. I was walking the other day, my Achilles, and I was like, instead of tensing up and like not continuing to walk, I slowed the pace down on my walk, and I was like, all right, what are you here to tell me? What's going on? It was scary because an Achilles injury is no joke. And like for a few, I really thought I was going to have to abandon the walk and actually like limp back to, you know, where my car was. And I just said, no. It's here to teach you something. It's here. This pain in your Achilles is manifesting to share something with you, right? You're having a manifestation of physical pain because there's something that you're not paying attention to. So it's here to go, hey, I'm here. Are you listening? And in that moment of slowing down and listening, that I connected with it, and it was on the left side of my body, and it was an entire motherly thing. And personally don't need to share the depth and breadth of what that was. But the point is it dissipated and did not return for the rest of my very long walk. And so it was really neat. And it's not the first time it's happened. To my Achilles, yes, but to other parts of my body, no. And I remember one time being away at a training, at a retreat in Costa Rica, and I sneezed so hard that my neck, I felt like I pulled a muscle in my neck, and I'm like, this is going to screw the rest of the trip up. I need to be in this. I'm a trainer in this retreat, and I need to be very present and unconditionally there for people. And this is going to pull me away from that, because it's like, I'm like this. How am I going to be with people face to face? I'm like, whoa, stop. And I laid down, and for that, before I went to bed, I just spent time with it. And I said, tell me why you're here. What's going on? What's coming up? And the next morning I woke up.
Gone.
Dude, this was a pain that I've had before, though. And they say muscle have a memory. And I'm like, oh, I've done this before. I know this pain. And
right.
usually it lasts a week. But usually I'm fighting it. I'm massaging it.
You're resisting it.
Right. I'm grabbing things to make the pain go away. Like
almost like a crying child.
Yes.
Instead of, like, before in the past, you would just give that child a pacifier or a piece of candy, like, here, shut up, but now
right.
you're tending to it. You're saying, okay, what's bothering you? Why are you crying? Why are you upset?
Such a good analogy. That's exactly it. Treat every pain in your body like a crying child. That's genius, Ray. That's brilliant. You should write a book. And that's it. It should be 3 pages long. But like that would be like that. That's a really profound statement, man. Like, treat every physical pain as a crying child, man. I love that.
All right. So
it's time.
I think it's that time.
It is that time.
Time for the reading of the week. I pulled the Ganesh deck, since it is a Ganesha holiday going on in India. And it's someone I like too. Whispers of Lord Ganesha by Angela Hartfield. So this is going to be a reading for the collective. Let me get in my Bodhi zone.
Yeah, do that. I'm going to take a sip from my Bodhi tea. Today I'm sipping on green tea, cacao, and MSM crystals, which is sulfur, cools the flames in the body. But this combo has been quite delightful.
All right. The card is, wow, it's a good one. Number 1, beginnings. Beginnings. So let's look at this one. I'm gonna look it up.
It's a pretty card, man. Very vibrant.
Yeah, all the cards in this deck are really good, really vibrant. All right, it's a good, nice, short one. This is an indication of new energy on the horizon that brings open-hearted opportunities. Pay attention to where you are going. A new beginning can sometimes have a deeper spiritual significance, encouraging a different consideration or a fresh approach to how you connect with your inner guidance. With awareness comes understanding. One benefit of this new start may be the opportunity to stay true to your own path and guidance. Release the need to try to bring others into your vision. Trust yourself to be willing to do the work needed at this time. Your inspiration is positive. Creativity, finances, and love are flowing just before you. Ask Ganesha to assist you with the new energy and opportunities ahead of you. So yes, new beginnings, new opportunities, being true to yourself. I like it. I think it's time for a new beginning. It does feel like a new beginning right now.
I love it. For me personally, I've been nurturing this invention of sorts for about 10 years now. And I have been procrastinating, like launching this product, like creating the prototype, releasing it into the world, copyright, all the steps. I've been like waiting for other people to help me. I've been waiting for kind of like falling from the tree. Like, I got you, I got you. And what I heard in that reading is like, you can do this.
Yes.
Like, I don't need, I mean, it's nice to have a team, and eventually I will have to have other people, but in order to start it, the beginning, to get it going, maybe that's what I personally need to attract the team and the other people, is to actually put something out there, believe that I can create the beginnings of this,
Get the
and
ball
then
rolling.
right, and then I'll attract the team and the people of support that I need to help move it forward, et cetera, et cetera. So
I
that's,
like it.
yeah, that was really good for me, man. Thank you. Because
Yeah, and I think a lot of times the new beginning, it's, beginning of this year was a lot of hardship for me, and I think that just letting that stuff go and healing, and now I feel like I'm healed. I'm ready for something new. I'm open to something, a new beginning, a fresh start somewhere.
perfect.
I'm ready, man.
You are, and speaking of new beginnings too, I mean, aside from being 14 episodes in now, there's a new chapter to our elevation commitment to technology. Ray today, besides his new backdrop there with the books, the rhino, does that say Houdini
Yes,
behind you?
I got my laptop to, what's that?
Does it say Houdini?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. He's on his laptop today, looking sharp. I mean, like, in it. And also has we had the black and white again, but I have the white little meteorite, and he has the giant black asteroid. So we're yin yanging it. We slowly, upping our game as far as connectivity and
The new beginning.
yeah, man, yeah. And so you can find us on Anchor, if you'd like to make a donation. I think you can do it through them right now. We've discussed in other episodes and with each other on setting up something maybe on Buy Me a Coffee. We'll look at Patreon eventually, maybe Subscribe Star, something. We'll make it make sense, but we want to be able to offer you guys something. However, to help us keep moving forward and adding new cameras, lighting, bigger microphones, maybe, whatever, hit us up on Anchor. Support us there. I think there's a link or a way that's easily facilitated to make that contribution. Ray, last week, you had made a wish. You said, maybe every episode will add one new country. Well, we had 13 countries, right? That around the world that have been tuning in. Would you care to gander where we're at this week?
14?
17!
17, oh my gosh.
17. I didn't even know there were 17 countries in the world. Just kidding. We are worldwide. What?
Worldwide.
So that was exciting. I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked, and it added up the next day, and I'm like, I got to tell Ray. No, I'm going to wait to tell Ray and drop it on the podcast. Wow. So I thought I was going to have a double whammy of surprise for you. Didn't happen, but we can reach out to our audience today and help us get to that centennial mark of 100 subscribers on YouTube. We are currently stuck at 98. We are so close.
We'll get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's coming.
We'll get it today.
Oh, today.
We'll get it today.
Magic man over there.
Magic.
So make it happen. 100. We'll have our unique URL at that point. Just kind of a novelty more than anything. It looks sexy when you drop it on websites and in places of promotion. It'll be youtube.com/the Bodhi Bros versus this long thing that just doesn't make any sense for anybody. But that's all I really got. I want to thank everyone for your comments, your encouragement, and Ray, let them know. Let them know what you always want them to.
I always say, if you have somebody who you want us to cover, could be a specific teacher or even a specific topic, let us know, and we'll definitely do it. Like, so just like the last one we did, the other one, the Tantra one. So
yes,
you guys reach out and said, hey, I want to hear something about Tantra. I want to hear something about sacred sex. and we did it.
We did it.
We
So
did it
hard.
raw, and we did it dirty.
We did it. We did it. I want to do it again. Hey, and that's the thing too. We can revisit topics too, because there are, to these videos that we discover and that you can bring to us, there's so many levels. Like Ray said today, this was another introductory feeling to it with its material, which is great, which is fine. Like, look, man, I want to help wake people up, and waking up. Look, waking up is a lifelong process. When you say I'm woke, or I woke up in 2012 or whatever, there's not an end to it. There's different levels of waking up.
Layers.
Every time you think, every time you think that you're fully awake and now I get life and now I understand, stop it. You know what you need to do? You need to pause. Because in that pause,
and put the pause on the heart.
Pause. You are on fire today with the poetry, man. That goes in the book. That's on page 3. So yes, pause and realize there are so many more layers to wake up to. Trust us. Get there, and then help the others below you as gently as you can. It's not your responsibility, but we are here to investigate, explore, expose all different levels of connecting into a more fulfilling life, a more peaceful, prosperous life. Ray, I'm done, man. You got anything else?
I'm done, man. You said it, man. You said it. Different layers of waking up. Oh, I wonder what the next layer is gonna look like.
Yeah, you got any ideas for the next person that we're gonna review, or not yet?
I have an idea. Somebody told me something. Somebody mentioned somebody.
Okay.
And I looked into somebody, and I'm like, oh, looks pretty good. I don't have a specific video by that person, but somebody dropped a name.
So I'm hearing somebody then.
Yes, somebody dropped a name. So I was like, okay.
So till we meet again for episode 15, when we'll be reviewing somebody. Stay tuned. Check out our Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, all those things. If we're not on a platform that you love or you think we need to be on, let us know. Ray, love you, man.
Namaste.
See you soon. And thank you, everyone. We are out.
We out.
Are we?